This is a fun hunt. We're back in a spot with a familiar guest, Bruce Pettit, the president and CEO of LEUPOLD Optics. And the reason we hunt here in this spot in New Mexico is there's a lot of wilderness country. And Bruce always tells me, Randy, if I come hunting with you, I don't want it to be one of these cheesecake kind of hunts. I want it to be backcountry. I want it to be difficult. I want to see how you and your crew are using and abusing our equipment, all the gear, all the optics we give you. I want to see how you run them through the rigors. And these kind of hunts that you're going to see here are a really good testing ground for the stuff that Bruce wants to see as part of this hunt.
I hunted in this same unit 2 years ago with Randee and was able to take a really nice big bull in a pretty tough place. And so when we started talking again and said, hey, why don't we go back there and see if we can do it again, we began the process of getting tags and making sure that we could make the dates work. And when I told my wife Tracy that I was going again, she said, hey, you know what, can I just go along with you guys? I'd love to. She hunts but hasn't done any elk hunting, and said I'd love to just go along. And so I surprised her with a tag, and she was excited.
He called me up and was like, you know what, talk to Randee, and I think it'd be great if you came along for this trip. And then he told me that I had the elk tag. I was so excited. I cried, and then I felt a little nauseous thinking about all the training I was gonna have to do, but we did it.
So folks, a lot of you are going to say, well, how do you guys draw these tags in New Mexico all the time? Well, here's how it works. And I'm gonna tell you this up front because for some people this is controversial. This is how it works in New Mexico, but I just want everyone to know. When we plan our schedule, we plan a year in advance and we talk to all of our partners and say, okay, what block of time do you want? What kind of hunt do you want? And we apply in the public draws and try to get those tags. Sometimes we don't get those tags, but we still have film permits lined up. We've got everything ready to go. We've got vacation time for guest hunters. We've got camera crews. We've got the whole works. So if we don't draw in the public draw, every once in a while, we go to these states and we buy what's called a unit-wide voucher. In New Mexico, a unit-wide voucher allows you to hunt any of the public land within the unit. So I tell you that because I don't want people saying, oh, you guys are trying to hide something, whatever. For those of you who think that that's just too controversial, I get it, and that's just how it happens. So I just want you to know, this hunt here, these are voucher tags that Bruce and Tracy have. Well, we got done with our New Mexico pronghorn hunt in one day, somewhat by design, because we wanted to get over here and scout for this hunt a couple days early. Bruce and Tracy Pettit from LEUPOLD are coming over. They've got tags here. We're just along to film and help and pack and scout. So I came over here a couple days early. I've got tomorrow and the next day to scout. And they only have a 5-day season. So trying to fill 2 tags in a 5-day season is tough. So I thought, you know what? If I could come over here and scout, tell a little bit of story, get some good footage, that would be cool. So that's what I'm doing. Actually, I got over here in time for about an hour of just glassing tonight. Don't expect to see anything huge, but just a spot I'm familiar with. I've been here twice before. I know you can glass up a few elk here. Never know what you're gonna see. So this is what I'm doing for the next hour. No, I can't do it for an hour. I'd be late. I got to do Elk Talk Live tonight. Whew. I can only do it for about another half hour. Dang it. Why is that? It's windy up here and cold. But we're at 10,000, I think 10,400 feet. It is kind of interesting though to come to a spot you've hunted before and think, boy, gonna be a slam dunk. And then the elk gods reshuffled the deck here. So now I gotta figure it out again. I'm not sure where they're gonna be, but I got a day and a half to try to figure it out. I think we saw 6 bulls this morning. None of them real big, but at least we saw 6. I've been on a lot of hunts where I saw 0. Camera guys are good at giving you perspective. I was kind of moaning the blues here because I often see lots of elk in here. And Marcus, the camera guy, said, well, how many hunts do you go on where you would complain that you only saw 6 bull elk that morning? Good point. No complaint. We're just going to find the bigger one. Marcus and I, we went over here, we went over there, we went over there, and every day we were seeing bull elk. But one of the things that you'll notice in this episode is we are in that period, and you hear me talk about the 5 calendar periods of the elk calendar. There's early season, pre-rut, peak rut, post-rut, and late season. Right now, we are in that transition where peak rut is behind us. There's a few cows still coming into cycle, but the big bulls are going to their post-rut sanctuaries. Well, there's tons and tons of cow elk here, oodles of cow elk. And what bulls are you gonna find with the cow elk in this period of time are usually the 2.5, 3.5, and maybe some 4.5-year-old bulls, which those 3 and 4-year-old bulls can be nice bulls. But the really, really big bulls, if that's what you're thinking, okay, I'm nothing but the biggest bull on the mountain, odds are in this transition from peak rut to post rut, you're not gonna find those big bulls with the cows. And in our scouting, Marcus and I observed that. Every group of cows that had bulls pushing them, 3.5-year-old bulls for the most part. Maybe some that could have been 4.5. Then Marcus and I say, well, where are we gonna go to see what really big bulls might be here? Where are the 5, 6, 7-year-old bulls? And can we even find them? So Marcus and I went way out into this area where we can look down in a canyon I'm very familiar with. And we looked down in there, and that's where they were. They were 1,600 feet below us. No trails, no roads, no nothing, all wilderness area. And this is where the bulls were. The old bulls, the big bulls, were down in there. And that didn't surprise me. So when Bruce and Tracy showed up, I told Bruce, I'm like, man, Marcus and I found the jackpot. But Bruce, having hunted here 2 years ago, knew what it was gonna take to go in there. And he looked at Tracy and he said, Tracy, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna get the true experience of a public land wilderness elk hunt because we're gonna go down in there.
Elk was something that I've only seen done in videos and the pictures that he would send me. And it was that one hunt that, out of all the other hunts that I wanted, you know, it was number 1 on my list, and I felt like I was ready. You know, I was ready physically, I was ready mentally for it. We got here late Friday night, figured out where we were gonna go. Saturday morning, up at the butt crack of dawn, and headed out in the dark. And that first little bit of gray light that came over, we just heard this bull just bugling. It was everything I thought it would be and more. I mean, it gave me the chills down my spine. It was epic.
Well, this is gonna be home for a couple hours. We got people all around us. There's a bull buelling on that hill right over there that when he gets down lower, we might have a shot right across this hillside. From the outset, Bruce made it very clear that Tracy had never shot an elk, that Tracy had first shot. Every opportunity was going to be hers until she filled her tag. And I'm like, cool. You who watch our show know that I get as excited or more excited helping a hunter shoot their first elk than if I shoot an elk myself. I think back through all the seasons of how many people on our show have shot their first elk and how rewarding and fulfilling that has been. And in this hunt, my greatest wish was, okay, I hope we find a bull that Tracy likes and she can shoot her first bull out.
So we went out the first day and went right back to where we knew the bulls were going to be. It's classic area like Randee would talk about, PostRut, which is really tough terrain. And frankly, those bulls are going down in there and just trying to recover post-rut.
And there were so many elk. There were cows, there were young bulls, there were a few nicer bulls. And the idea was these elk do a lot of feeding in the night, and then they come to their beds. And if you can get them to bed, say 10, 11 in the morning, you're gonna have a steady thermal then. They're probably gonna stay in that bed for 3 or 4 hours, giving you time to go out of sight, get a stock on them and know that when you show up, they're still probably gonna be there. So there's a lot of reasons to be patient if you're glassing elk from far away like we were.
That's a cool bull. That's a cool bull.
I'd spotted a nice bull down here. The hard part is going to be getting close enough for a shot, and getting it out of there is going to be absolutely terrible, miserable. It's up to Tracy if that's what Tracy wants to shoot. That's what we're going to do. Have you looked at the bull? You want to shoot him? Okay. That's the only part that matters, is what Tracy wants out of it. I call it a sucker's hole. It's just, it sucks you in. It's like, well, I'll just drop another 500 feet and another 500 feet and another 500 feet. And you keep moving and moving and moving and moving, and pretty soon you're just about down in the bottom of the canyon. And this thing is steep. I mean, I'm talking 1,600 vertical feet from the bottom to where we'd cracked the ridge. And it's only about a half mile. Not even that, I don't think.
So we started down and we kept going and we kept going. About 1,500 feet later, we saw an elk out there that was injured and decided that we were going to try to go for him.
And so we made a move on it, and we ended up getting down into the deep stuff that first day, and this was late afternoon.
We sat there for I don't know how long. The sun's starting to fall behind the ridges. It's late afternoon. And we keep moving and moving, going downhill, going this way, going that way. And Tracy she's determined. She wants to shoot this bull. And in my mind, I'm thinking, if we shoot this bull, we're gonna spend the rest of your days that you're here getting it out. So Tracy, there's a part of me that was hoping that you wouldn't shoot that bull.
Gosh, he's in the jungle, but he'll come out of it.
442. Tracy she didn't have a shot she was comfortable with. So she'd move as the bull would move. She'd move along the hillside trying to get different angles, dropping lower. Finally, just ran out of light. What do? Well, what you do is you pack up and try to get out of there.
Well, hopefully you'll see us tomorrow. We have a multiple hour pack up out of this canyon blowdown. Not gonna be pretty. We'll find out how good of friends we all are when this is done.
This just about classifies as rock climbing.
Wow.
That was aggressive.
Are you, Randy? Yeah. So what are we walking on, Randy, right now?
What are we walking on?
Yeah, tell the audience what's going on right now.
You want the expletive or you want
We're on
the...
a road.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call this a road, but it barely qualifies as a goat trail. I saw like 3 or 4 human skull bones down there in the wash. The things people will do for the sake of elk.
It took us 3 hours from where Tracy decided, you know what, it's too dark and it's not a good shot. From the time we loaded up our packs there and started working our way out and got back to the truck a couple miles, 3 hours. Going up 1,600 feet through ugly, nasty, terrible stuff. That was our first day of elk hunting. I'm like, you know what? We're spent.
How was it?
Yeah, give me a wrap for this day by day. How was that?
Oh, it was like a beautiful walk in the park with flowers, and it was really picturesque.
It was a great warm-up, let me tell you.
The fact that she hasn't hit Bruce or myself with one of her trekking poles is quite a testimony to her
Yeah,
fortitude.
she was amazing.
We got all of about 4 hours of sleep that night by the time we got to our room, got everything reorganized, and then got up the next morning. And we're at the trailhead before daylight, and we're walking in, and I can feel that I'm just dragging. I don't want to admit that to Bruce and Tracy, but I am exhausted. And we finally make it up to our glassing spot, and there's some bulls bugling way off. There's one little bull that comes around. He's a little 5-point raghorn, and Tracy could have shot him, and it would have been on the right side of the ridge, just down to the trail, but she decided not to, and that's fine.
I mean, we're just not thinking he's a mature bull. Exactly. These guys are just saying they don't think he's a mature bull. Yeah, that's fine.
We're sitting there that afternoon. I don't know, it's not even afternoon yet. And Bruce looks at me, I look at him, and I think we both had the same thought of, you know what? We only have a day and a half left. We're exhausted. It's a gamble, but let's take the rest of this day and let's go and rest. Let's get all of our gear reorganized, everybody get resupplied with energy and food and the whole works. And tomorrow, let's go down in that canyon again and let's kill some bulls. And he talked me into that.
Oh, and while I was taking a nap here a little bit ago, Bruce, you came up with the dumbest plan I think I've ever heard.
It's a brilliant plan, Randee. It's brilliant.
Oh,
Seriously.
You're excited for it though.
You got kind of pumped up.
You're a little pumped. I can feel it.
that's because I see it has a terminal end. 2 years ago, Bruce shot a bull down in the bottom. We spotted it from this side. It took us 7 hours to go down and across and up the other side. And I made a vow to the man above that if I ever consider, not go, but even consider going down in there, you can amputate both legs. And in the last half hour, the consummate salespeople to my right have convinced me that it's worth a double amputation because we're going to go down in there again tomorrow.
It didn't have anything to do with the 22 bulls you saw down in there.
There's a lot of bulls down there.
Well, yeah, that's the problem.
A lot of beautiful, beautiful.
If we go down in there, you better bull shoot a bull. I'm not going down in there just for one 350-inch bull.
We will.
Okay.
We'll try.
This country is not forgiving. Even people who do it the way we do all season long, this country takes a toll on you. So, with that plan in place, we were back at the room, grilling our antelope, eating a good dinner. Oh my. Right there you got it, folks. Hepatic protein coma coming your way. And everybody went to bed early. The idea is, okay, we're gonna get up and we're gonna hunt our way in.
You ready, folks?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right. You guys just like milking this for as long as you can, don't you?
We headed out the next morning and got to the trailhead and started hiking, and all of a sudden we heard the most beautiful noise I've ever heard. We heard this elk bugling and it was awesome, and decided, you know what, we're gonna go after him.
If you guys wanted to try to get close to him, I could stay down here and cow call. We got a downhill wind right now. That's going to change in about a half hour.
So the bull's up on this ridge. I'm staying around the corner of this other little ridge, and Bruce and Tracy head over into this little cut where you can see across a little opening. And I'm just cow calling. And that bull, like the whiniest, just high-pitched kind of call. Every time I did that, he'd bugle back.
He was not going to come to us. He was going to yell at us. He was going to scream at us. He was going to take different peeks through the timber, but he was not coming out of that timber. So we snuck in. Randee, sexiest cow caller ever, because that bull was loving him, and he was vocal. And it was just, it would send chills down your spine.
Tracy, I was really proud of her. You know, she's trained for this hunt because she knew how tough it was going to be, having watched the show a couple years ago. And she got after it. She kept resetting, making sure she had the right situation.
And it was so thick, and my heart was racing. And Tyler just kept saying, come on, a little closer, a little closer, a little closer. So we finally got closer and there was no falling down logs. And he said, you're just gonna have to brace against the tree. You got this.
Shoot him right there. Shoot him. I'm on it. Shoot him. Just make it happen. Make it happen. I think. Jack another one in. Jack another one in. You got him. You got him.
Oh my gosh.
Good job.
That was awesome.
You were amazing. Well done. That was so good. That was a hunt right there. Getting to watch that, I gotta tell you, that's way better than shooting a bull yourself. That's way better.
Way to stick it out, Tracy.
That is way better. That is absolutely awesome. Way to keep you cool, babe.
Way to make it happen.
Thanks for coaching me.
Good job.
After hearing the shot, I walk up there and I can see the crew over there about 50 yards away. And Tracy's like doing this stuff. I mean, as genuine of excitement as I've seen in a long time. And Bruce is just like, he's got a smile from here to here.
Well, all you can do is ask for some beef.
You're the sexiest female elk ever. You love it. Thank you.
You're the sexiest female ever.
You know, it was a hunt that I've waited for a long, long time. And to have it all go down like that, to be crawling, you know, through the timber, going over logs, going under logs, you know, it was awesome. It was awesome to hunt him.
I saw his ear.
Really?
I didn't even notice his rack because there's so many twigs, but I saw his ear and I was like, just gotta get down and get his right here. But you just never, that's all I ever saw was just that top
That's
right
your
there.
first elk, right?
Oh yeah, that's,
I always
was
tell
awesome.
our audience, I get more pleasure out of helping people kill their first elk.
it was so great.
If I never shoot another one, I've shot more than my share, so now it's just the fun of this. But remember our deal. I get to do the getting and killing, right?
Yes.
Okay. That
Even
was
though
the deal.
I wanted to get my first elk.
I know. I told Tracy that you have to sign a contract when you become a guest hunter on this show. It's got one sentence. Randee gets to do the field dressing. Sign here.
Well, as much as I wanted to do my first elk, because it's you.
grant me
You
the
can
pledge.
assist.
Yes.
You can teamwork.
Yeah.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
You can
I
assist.
mean, I'll let you pack the whole thing out.
I'll be like your nurse. I'll just hand you instruments as you need them.
Oh, I see him.
That's a nice mature bull. Public land bull right there, boom.
Right. That was awesome.
You did a great job.
Yeah, what a shot. Holy smoke.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, that's cool. That's an old bull. Good mature bull.
It was epic. It was an epic moment. And to share it with these guys who were so patient with me, who knew it was my first hunt, who knew, you know, the excitement that I had, and it was awesome.
She got a fantastic bull, and more than that for me, it was just the experience of kind of sitting back and watching that happen was awesome. It was better than if I was hunting myself by far, and I think those of you who've had the opportunity to hunt with your loved ones and watch them be successful, I know you feel the same way.
Wow.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Tracy.
Thank you, Randy, so much. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, Randy, thank you.
For me anyhow, and I think for Bruce, we just kind of looked at each other like, you know what, this is why we hunt. This experience defines what's in the soul of wanting to be a hunter.
And then the hard part began. You know, it's hard and it's fun and, you know, but I learned so much. And, you know, getting to see our dinners for the next year, it was, you know, these guys don't understand, well, you know, we're doing all this. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, with this tenderloin, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna make this stew, and I'm gonna make these tacos, and, you know, having, you know, all my Pinterest recipes done was awesome. And I wanted nothing more than to be able to carry my elk out. That was something that I had trained for. It was something that was important to me. And getting that strapped to my pack and hiking out with those guys was so amazing.
And having my wife here with me to experience this and spend time in the backcountry together was absolutely fantastic, and just really blessed to be able to do it, and to frankly live in the West where we have an opportunity to do these things and to get out on public land and hunt. And we came across so many public land hunters on this trip, and while some people might think, wow, it was really crowded, and you know, for me, seeing that, it's absolutely, you know, something that just makes me incredibly happy to know that we've got access for so many hunters to get out there. And
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Bruce. You guys made my week. It's one of the greatest hunts for the whole season. To see somebody that genuinely excited, thrilled, and appreciative. Tracy was so appreciative of that bull, of the experience, of everything that it was. That makes it a special hunt.